All right, ladies and gentlemen, I paid $1 for this one. It's a 10-inch, and I paid $5 out of the pawn shop for this 12-inch. And the 12-inch got a weld spot there I'm going to take off. It is rusty pretty good. It does seem to work, though you have to work it. You have to make it work. This one, really not in bad shape at all. It's a little dirty. I can hear the dirt down inside there. It's got one that the pin doesn't come out. You can drill them out, but I'm not doing it. It's a good wrench. I'm just going to clean it up. The only thing I don't like, it's got the plating's loose off the end here, and it's sharp. I can feel it. So just going to clean that up. But this one, I'm going to see if I can't take that screw out and take this thing apart, because it is pretty rusty. And I want a good used tool out of this. I mean, I could probably soak it in some, whatever you want. You can soak it in anything and probably get it pretty clean. But there, it's stiff. Like closing, you have to work it. So I don't like having to, if you have to sit there and use more than a thumb to turn these, if you got to use your hand to open it up and turn at the same time, I can't do that. So let's see if I can take this apart, and then we'll throw it in that homemade rust remover I got, and then we'll go from there. I will say, if you attempt one of these, be advised, if you can get a Dremel in there to clean the edge up, because at the factory they take a chisel and peen it over on the sides to where that screw doesn't back out. So you can screw this screw up doing that. Just forewarn. And you will break that edge of the screw off if you're not careful. Take your time, go slow. You're not in any hurry. And if you are in a hurry, don't do it. I may wind up having to get another screwdriver. And what's coming out easier than I thought it would now. All right, hang on a second. Good screwdriver here, making sure it's not damaged. Worst thing to do is get a damaged screwdriver and put it into a good slot, and then you screw up the slot. Now, when you take one of these apart, on this end, there's usually a spring, copper type spring, I guess, or brass. That's rusty pretty good. See? There's a spring right there. Little tiny little booger. So, now, what I'm going to do is set this in the rust remover and get back to it. All right, got a wrench that's been sitting in here for, I don't know, 5-6 days. Yeah, the rust coming off pretty good. Yeah. So, it's a Craftsman. Go ahead and take this, make sure I don't have anything left down in here. Oh, you know what? I don't remember what I did with the copper spring. Hang on, let me look. Yep, I got it. I saved the spring. There's a spring that goes in the back here, and it goes up against the wrench right like that. The spring goes, and that's what keeps this from spinning just wildly. There's nothing else in there. So I'm gonna take this outside and rinse it. I've got a hose outside. I'll rinse this, and then we'll go take it on the wire wheel. What I did is I took a fiber wheel, and I'll show you. This is a 220 grit, it's plastic, it's a fiber wheel. And what I did is I polished the rough edge on the inside there. So that should make this work really smooth in there. It should turn really easy on this. Now I'm gonna go ahead and clean this up with the fiber wheel in here and make this as smooth as possible. Get any trash, you can see some trash down in there and ridges, to make this work smoother. And I think I'm gonna put it on the flap wheel. So I took it over the wire wheel and cleaned it up. I'm gonna use a little Dremel here and here in the corners. And then the rest of it I'm gonna go over with that flapper wheel and just give it a satin finish on it. Some of the chrome plating is still there, and some of the plating is like sharp. When you raise your hand over, you can feel. If you've ever been on a tool, used a tool that the plating's coming off, it leaves a sharp edge or ridge edge. I'm gonna use that flapper wheel to smooth this out. I think that's all I'm gonna do to this thing. I'm not gonna paint it, I'm not gonna blue it. I thought about bluing it, but I don't think so. There's too much plating still on it. It was just covered in rust. See the trash? That's what dirt and buildup gets in there. This thing should be really smooth. And that's what it will be. I used the 220 grit, and then I used 1,000 grit fiber wheel on there just to make the gear and everything run smooth. And there's no damage on the outside here, and there's no damage here would affect the smoothness of it. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, just a simple cleanup, nothing fancy. I put it in that homemade rust remover. Then I took it on the wire wheel, then the flapper wheel, and you can see this thing was abused. It was used. It's been beat up where the rust was really bad. The plating's come off. Still a good used tool. I mean, it should work. I mean, that's, can't complain there. Now it's sticking right there. There it is. It's working just fine. So, a couple things I'm going to do first. When I put this together, I got to put this like that. This spring goes in here like this, but before I do that, I'm going to put just a little bit of grease right in the end of that hole, so that you got the small side, large side, the spring goes in there. On the end, I'm going to slide that in here. Now, before we go any further, I'm going to add a little bit of Loctite on these threads. I'm not going to dimple it over like it was before. I'm just going to put a little dab of Loctite on it. And that'll hold just fine. Slide that in right there. Before I go any further, let's go ahead and bring this in. Oh, dummy. I have to put that in. Hang on, I screwed up. Getting ahead of myself. I was worried about that. Has to go in. Dummy. Now, I still, forgot I was going to. And this, I cleaned it real good in the wire wheel, and then I put 220 grit fiber wheel, 600 grit fiber wheel, and then went over it with 1000 grit, just to get off some of the, I don't know if you can see some of the pitting, a little bit of pitting from the rust that had locked it up, but it's not locked up now. So drop that back in there with the spring right there. Spring goes against the housing right there. Drop that in there. Doesn't need to be super tight because that Loctite will hold it. Now it should work just like that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, 12-inch Craftsman adjustable wrench. Opens and closes with thumb easily. This side was rusted really bad. Turned out pretty nice. I think these sell new for like $24.99. And the 10-inch, all I did on it, I cleaned it up with a little carburetor cleaner. Same thing, opens and closes with thumb wheel. Oh, wait a second, there's a catch right there. Why is it catching? Wasn't doing that earlier. There it goes. Huh. It's catching for some reason, and I can't see why. Anyways, there it is, right there. It's got a little slop in the head there, but opens and closes really smooth compared to what it did, that's for sure. I cleaned it up. I took a little fiber wheel and cleaned the rust out on the wheel. Took the brush the best I could because this is pinned. You just can't, you got to drill this out. You can't get it out. So, but what bothers me on these is where the plating comes loose. It gets real sharp and it cuts like a paper cut. So I took it on the fiber wheel, on the flapper wheel, the 320 wheel, and just ran it over and just cleaned it up a little bit. No big deal. It's easy. These sell for like $19.99 new. If anybody, there's a part number. Is a Craftsman. 10-inch. I paid $1 for this one, and I paid $5 for this one. I think this is $24.99 new at Ace. So yeah, I can't complain. For the money, there you go. Two little nice little wrenches. Like I say, find those old junk tools. Some of this stuff, it's still usable. You know, most people don't like adjustable wrenches just because they round bolts and stuff. Well, they're using it wrong to begin with. I mean, if that's the only wrench you got, you probably ought to stop and find a better wrench. If you're rounding bolts off, these are for backups. To back up a nut, you know, this is for big items like you're working on your, if you got a drag plow or something like that, or side of a belly mower or something, get to a bolt, these will work. But for taking head bolts off an engine, no, this is not going to do you. But still a good used tool. Like I said, I got $6 worth of tools. Here's what I paid, and I've got maybe 35 minutes in cleaning them up, maybe 40 minutes. I think it was worth the time. Like I said, the plating on this one, I didn't do really anything except clean it off with some carb cleaner and use the Dremel on it a little bit with the fiber wheel, and then put it on the flapper. The flapper wheel is a 320 grit, and just to get those sharp edges off of that plating. When that plating chips, I don't know about you guys, it irritates me. When I grab a tool and it rips my skin, we got a problem. So I fixed it, and this one's just rusted. This one was just not taken care of, and now it's a good used tool. Nothing wrong, just a good old used tool. All right, guys, give me thumbs up, thumbs down. Tell me what you think. If you'd have spent the time, I would have. Yeah, I was going to show, oh, before I go, this is WF marked on the end there. On both of them are WF marked. But good used tools, brought to a good usable condition. Cheap, inexpensive. Look for this old stuff. Hit the garage sales, flea market, thrift stores, pawn shops. Be surprised what you can find out there, ladies and gentlemen. And a good price. Just take your time. You know, you can have a good tool collection or a good used tool set with minimal cost. All right, guys. That's enough blabbing. Y'all have a good day.